Texas Heat, man. How are y'all doing today? I'm glad to be back from my little vacay with just family and going and went over to New Mexico. Saw some pretty cool things. Didn't really expect to see all of that in New Mexico, but it was definitely a trip I enjoyed. And man, I'm glad to be back and be back in the fold and get everybody just to see kind of where everybody is as far as Madden play, how you are feeling in regards to your skill and connection to the league itself. But we are going to talk a little Madden. We're going to talk a little Madden, talk about where everybody sits, and hopefully give everybody a breakdown that is suitable and enjoyable on this Tuesday. Obviously, we're getting ready to advance tonight. And so, with an advance, that means that, we have a few games left to get played before we get into this next week. Something I haven't done this year has been the playoff predictions. I'm going to try to get myself to do that this Madden. I hadn't really done that this year when it comes to playoff predictions. That's something that I've kind of left on the back end a little. Definitely want to make sure that we get back to that, get back in that, really kind of get back in that groove as far as getting those, getting the playoff predictions out there, kind of giving everybody a real breakdown as far as where I think you sit, yada, yada, yada. We are going to get that. We're going to have that happen for the league. I'm going to go through a little bit of the stats. We are going to recap some of this last week going into the next week. And then, of course, we're going to look at these standings, see where everybody sits, and go from there. So, man, hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday. I'm going to take a quick break just to make sure everybody can at least see the show for people that desire to see the show. And we'll be right back. All right, it is a beautiful Tuesday morning here, at least in Texas. I don't know how life is where you are, but we got some decent weather finally. Again, welcome to the Texas Heat Podcast. The whole goal today was just glad to be back in the fold. There's been some big games played. Don't sit here and look at my stats because I don't have the numbers. I had to take a few sim losses. So sometimes sim losses makes your shit look bad, but I did want to go in and look at a few players' stats as we just starting the show. See if there's anything significant, see what people are doing up to this point, who's sitting in those top 5 spots across the league. To start off, we have Bryce Young with those Panthers. Of course, King Taz can play the game. He's a good passer. I mean, the dude can play the game a little bit. 63% completion, 2,378 yards, 18 touchdowns, 15 picks. You may want to get those picks down just a little bit. Obviously that will show up or at least be present by the time we get to the playoffs. But having a good season to start. Anthony Richardson for Legend is playing well. 21 TDs, 14 picks, 66 completion percentage there. Definitely playing well. Billy DeVan Goff, everybody knows that CJ Stroud, but obviously Gideon playing with those Aviators, having a good season so far. And then J.D. Schwartz for the Blues. Obviously the picks are a little bit high. Really, the picks kind of seem high kind of across the board if I'm looking at all these up to this point. 17 picks is a lot of picks through, I think, 5-6 weeks as far as Madden play. But he's up there sitting in that top 10. Then, of course, you have Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, the best QB play up to this point, even though he doesn't have the yards. 69% completion, 16 TDs, only 10 picks to go so far this season. On the rushing side of the ball, no surprise that you have top sitting at the top for rushing, with Adrian Peterson, 541 yards. I don't remember who the original name of the player was. We allowed everybody to change one player for new guys in the league. Change the name of one player or one rookie on their team of their choice. Christian McCaffrey with those Chargers, 535 yards. Again, I kind of expect Tillman to ball this season, and so far he's kind of proven that he's going to play this year. And then we have with the New York Giants, we have Fuzz with Rad Tad at 522 and Marion Cannon. You know, I tried to get this guy from Austin. I actually jokingly said this in a voice chat, and he jokingly did not respond. So, but he's playing very well with him. 100 attempts, 503. I think, and then the last one is going to be Josh Jacob with the Saints. No shock there with Hollywood Tough. The dude can play. As far as the longest run this season, AP does have the longest run, and then J.K. Dobbins right behind him. Looking at the receiving stats, I mean, I wouldn't expect this to look any different. When he first got this receiver in the draft, Matthew Keaton, I mean, the guy's, he speaks for himself. 6'5", 222 with I think like 98 speed. Ridiculous player to pick up in a draft. He's almost at 1,000 yards through 5 weeks of the season. I mean, I think Nike is chasing that goal. They're trying to break Gideon's record. I believe it's Gideon that holds the record for the most receiving yards in a season, for as far as the individual records are concerned. Kirk Carmichael for the Blues at 800. Everybody knows Kevin Freeman wants to throw the ball as well. And then you have Denard Sears for the Cardinals. Blaze, new user, over here in the Texas Heat, 758 yards. And then DJ Chark, old ass, still around, at 727. The longest pass so far this season is 100. We have a new record. That is going to be, I mean, you can't do any better than that. I didn't even know you could get 100 on the game, to be very honest. I thought 99 was going to be the furthest you could go as far as a reception. But he does have the longest reception at 100 yards. So J-Stack will be added to the record book. Congratulations to you, sir. On the defensive side of the ball, you know, I don't expect any of these numbers to be really high, but you do have TJ Watt at 9 sacks. I mean, obviously that's kind of important, I think, for being on the defensive side with those Chiefs. You have Jermaine Johnson at 8.5, obviously with those Lumberjacks. And then Jerome Baker at 8, Nick Bosa at 6.5 sacks up to this point. And then not even going to attempt to say Osa's last name in that 5th spot. Picks this season, Terrell Edmonds sitting up there, the strong safety for the Eagles, with 6 picks. We have Marco Wilson, both new users, sitting at the top with individual players with the most picks this season to start. Isaiah Simmons at 5, Evan Fraser Jones at 5, and then of course Jermaine Holcomb, 2 players for the same user, legend, looking sharp on the defensive side. And then Trayvon Diggs with 5 for Slick and those Cowboys. I don't know if there's been any kick returns or punt. Oh, there has been. There's been several kick returns this season. Looks like we have 4 users that have had kick returns this season. And they're all in the AFC. Shout out to the AFC for doing the dirty work. People in the NFC don't know how to play Madden. Looking over at the punt returns, we do have 1 so far with Deacon Fields, with Mr. Tillman playing with those Chargers. So that's going to be pretty much the breakdown of the stats. I did want to go into a slight recap for this week. So really, you're not really giving your attention at this point to the screen as much as you can probably throw your attention towards the Discord. Going to post all of the individual games I've seen so far, or each game that has been played up to this point. We are at Tuesday, so that means it's time for advance. We'll go, be right back. But again, as I stated, we are going to have our everything's going to be focused basically in the Gen chat. I'm just going to do a quick recap of each game. And so basically what you're just looking for is you're looking inside the Gen chat. I'm going to try to get every game posted with a simple recap of what happened in each game, and go from there. Let's see if it'll even allow me to do so. I kind of ran into an issue with this yesterday when I was trying to figure it out, and I got it to work, and so far it does not seem like it's going to it doesn't seem like it's going to allow me to do so. And if so, we'll just kind of do it our old traditional way of just posting each game, or just going through the schedule of each game and just going from there. So give me 1 second. I apologize, y'all. I try to be on my shit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And Jejita. Oh, there it is right there. All right, we got it. All right, here we go. So going through each game, starting with the first one. This can't be accurate. Oh, you know what? He changed his team name to the Tokyo Sentinels. New user, not a new user necessarily, but he's new to y'all, old to me. And Dre joining the league. Dre did play this game. He did play this game against Smitty, and of course they had it wasn't really a close game anyway, at any point of this game. But I don't really blame that on Leaf at all. He's coming in with a new team, coming into a new build. Someone, playing with somebody else's build isn't the easiest thing to do. I think as much as we try to make it seem like it's the easiest thing to do, it is definitely not the easiest thing to do. And he came in with a new build, trying to figure out how to play with that team. He did lose this game. I thought Smitty played very well. One of the things that I saw in that game, just from being able to watch it, obviously I'm not going to be able to see all of them, but what I did see in that game was I thought he played a little too much man defense against Smitty and that core that he has with those Ravens. 51-27, he did pull this one out. Smitty continues to be on a hot streak. The next one was Bengals and Bills. We had a kind of friendly rivalry between DTZ and Brad. Brad did pull this one out with Joe Burrow throwing for 136 yards and rushing for 77 in this game. DTZ had 307, 2 touchdowns, and 3 picks that obviously most likely were the difference in this game. Both users 2 and 3. No different than myself. But this was a big game, and I think for both of them to get on the right track, neither one of them wanted to lose that game. 2 and 3. Season's not over. We'll see how Brad and DTZ finish out the rest of the way. The next game, 49ers and Blues. This one, Justin Fields. 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. It's crazy. I was just thinking about how are they going to treat Justin Fields on the next Madden? Because I don't feel like he deserves to be less than a 73. I thought he played decent enough this year once they finally let Justin Fields be Justin Fields. Miles Sanders, 13 carries, 115 yards. Schwartz for the Blues had the yards, but just, too many picks. That's going to be the difference in any game. But 32-10 for this one. Justin James, 3 and 2. Let's see if 2 tied. I think they're tied, I believe, in the same division. So we'll see how this pans out over the future over in the NFC. 20-17. I didn't see the game, but I did believe that if Austin were to beat King Taz, it would be very Austin-like, where pretty much Austin is going to play in a style of slowing the game down, playing his style, win the game. Now, I do think that style doesn't work for most people against King Taz, but I feel like if you're going to play a slow-paced game against Austin, the chances of an L are pretty high. Hendon Hooker, 237 yards, one TD, two picks, but ultimately, Marion Cannon, I may be saying his name wrong, so I apologize. 27 carries, 121 yards, five receptions for 129 for Laporta. Bryce Young, ultimately in this game, it looks like the impact was he just threw one more pick than Austin did. Austin pulled this one out 20-17. 5-0. The man is undefeated up to this point in the season. Let's see if that continues for Austin and those Detroit Lions. The next game, myself and Top played yesterday. We kind of played during the day, so sometimes people may catch those games during the day, sometimes they don't. But this game started off pretty wild, actually, because the very first play of the game, Top threw an 80-something yard bomb against me. I mean, very first play, I was just like, oh, okay, wow. Scored a touchdown, started the game 7-0. There were 21 points scored in the first quarter, and he was only able to score 3 after that. I had to obviously take care of that because you know how Top gets with cockiness and all that. He had a lot of disrespect for Rome. I couldn't let him talk about the vet like that, so I had to take care of business. But Steven Trout, 443 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. Kenya Hoskin, 2 carries, 32, and Mike Williams. Yes, I am not in the same position as other users where I don't believe in the fact that you have to have youth to win. Mike Williams, 30, I think he's 31, 32 on the game, 3 catches, 126, 3 touchdowns. Every catch was basically a tug. But ultimately, the difference in this game was really the one pick that Top threw late. That was really the impact because he was definitely driving to score. We got out of there 2-3. We'll see how the season ends for the both of us. I do think Top's in trouble. Being 2-3, especially with King Taz added to that division with him in Austin, he may be in trouble. Let's see if he figures it out along the way. The next game, if it pops up for me, was the Thunderbirds and the Saints. Now, what I'll say is this game was closer than the scoreboard. This game was a lot closer than the scoreboard. I was actually really impressed with how J-Stack played in this game. He couldn't get any stops. Couldn't get any stops on third down from what I saw. Obviously, seeing how Hollywood Tough likes to play, it wouldn't shock me if if it's not him and Austin playing in a conference championship. Wouldn't shock me. But again, I was wrong about it last season. Could be wrong again. 42-26. Obviously, Hollywood Tough pulls out this game. 143, 2 picks. Actually, I apologize. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rob Graves, 237, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 21 carries, 136 yards, and 3 touchdowns with Josh Jacobs. Again, this was a solid game through and through. I just think that ultimately at the end, this came down to third down conversions. Thunderbirds he wasn't able to get a stop on third down in that game against Hollywood Tough and those Saints. 42-16, definitely a big win there. The next game on the list, he may have lost his trait, but he is not playing completely like he's lost that trait in Mahomes. Ben gets the win over Bloodshed, 40-31. Did throw some picks in this game, but 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks. 15 carries for Pacheco. Anthony Schwartz, 6 receptions, 139 yards. Ben's 4-1. He's still holding strong despite taking a few losses with this Chiefs team. 4-1, and I've ultimately Bloodshed. He actually didn't play a bad game. It looks like he only had 1 pick in that game. He just just seems like he wasn't able to keep up scoring wise in this game. 40-31. Ben takes it 4-1, staying on top, I believe, of that division. The next game was a new user, not new to y'all, old to me. Malik comes back to the league to take over the Lumberjacks after an unfortunate exit for Olympic. 32-14. Lolo takes the cake here. 3-2, trying to stay in the race with really all three between Nike, Legend, and Gideon. 32-14. Dak Prescott did have a decent day. Did throw 2 picks, and then of course, Lumberjacks didn't have the game to do first game. Both of the new users started with an L, which kind of expected coming in with a brand new team. But 26 carries, 160 yards, 3 touchdowns, Larry Burgess. Then, of course, Jalen Waddle. How the hell he ended up on the Jags, I have no clue. 6 receptions, 121 yards. Lolo takes takes the win here. This game, right here, everybody's already aware there was a suspension handed out. But even though there was a suspension, you still got to give the respect to where you got to give respect where it's due. Legend balled out. Legend absolutely balled out against Nike in this game, 70-42. And from what I can see, the biggest difference in this game was interceptions. Anthony Richardson, 374 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. Warren Moon, 431 yards, 4 TDs, and 5 picks. Now, Nike did carry the ball a little bit more in this game, and Matthew Keaton did a lot of Matthew Keaton type stuff for him, but ultimately the turnovers were what are the difference in this game. Dylan Drake Jr., 6 receptions, 116 yards, and talk about a game for a defender. 2 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 TDs. So two pick sixes in a game. I can actually see what was going on here. And the funny thing is, this is how I know people aren't paying attention, because somebody's about to miss out on a potential prize. We are going to get to our next game because I don't want to hand out any favors. See who's paying attention here. The next game is Broncos and Chargers, 27-28. Tillman holding strong, 5-0 with those Chargers, or at least I think that's accurate. Yeah, 5-0. Played a great game against Brian with those Broncos. Jordan Love, 20 of 25, 244, 1 touchdown. William Nichols, 274, 4 TDs, 1 pick in this game. The funny thing is, I'm not even sure what team is who. I'm going to assume Justin Simmons is still on the Broncos, just looking at the stats. This is a close game. Looks like it came down to the very end, which is how I expected. I think Brian with those Broncos is a really good user. I just think he came into a really bad situation trying to rebuild. And then, of course, Tillman, 5-0. I'm 100% not shocked that dude is 5-0. I saw it when he first joined the league. He thought he was fooling everybody. He was not fooling me, sitting over there throwing for 6,000 plus yards, pretty much just tanking into the next season. 5-0, dude's playing well, and he's quiet about it. He's extremely quiet about his success. But obviously a big win for him. Let's see how things turn out for him. See how things turn out for Brian with those Broncos going forward. The next game on the list was the Aviators and the Giants, 30-28. Gideon, same thing, going against Fuzz. Game just came down to the end. It just came down to the end. That's simple. Came down to the end. Ultimately, I really just want to say C.J. Stroud because the name is so long, of Billy the Gun Van Gogh. I'm just gonna say the Gun. The Gun, 263, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Jake Griffin 289, two TDs, two interceptions. I haven't had any coffee or anything this morning, so I apologize. And then Simpson Ratad, 21 carries, 87 yards, four receptions, 116 yards, two TDs. At Michael Morrison, six receptions, 117 yards, and one touchdown. Looks like the game just went to the very end, and ultimately, Fuzz was able to pull this one out. And Fuzz sits at 4-1. I think his only loss was a fair sim. I don't remember Fuzz losing. He could have lost during the time frame that I was going, and I just didn't see it. But either way, he's sitting 4-1 and sitting pretty with those Giants. Mr. Hendricks himself is starting to look a lot like the guy I know. And what I mean by that is how he protects the football. When Hendricks protects the football, I think he's one of the top players in any league. When he doesn't protect the football, he is not in that category. And he protected the football against Ivan. Obviously, Ivan really needed a win, sitting at 1-4. He was 1-3 prior to this game. He couldn't afford another loss, especially if he was going to try to keep up in the division. I think Ivan's going to be going into the offseason again with those Condors. But ultimately, Hendricks played a great game. 19 of 31, 310, three touchdowns, one pick, 10 carries, 49 yards for Rashawn Harris. Rondell Moore, 5 receptions, 107. And, I think Ivan got his guy as far as the quarterback is concerned, but 6 picks in that game, 350 yards. Javion Simmons, 10 carries, 48 yards with 1 TD. Did have a big game for Darius Slayton, but ultimately, again, I think my original thought for Ivan's team was he was going into a rebuild, and I think that rebuild's going to continue into this next offseason. 41-31. Hendricks is 3-2. He's in the race. He's in the dance as far as that division. We'll see how it all finishes out for Hendricks. The last and final game, or at least as far as Neon is concerned, we have the Eagles and the Arizona Cardinals. Blaze, one new user, and I believe that's in a Seer playing with those Eagles. 47-20. Another shellacking from this week. Man, it's going to be a few people miss out on some prizes this week, but I ain't gonna say too much. I'm gonna keep it to myself. But the Cardinals did win this game. 24-37, 487, 3 TDs, and 4 picks with Kyler Murray. Thurman Scott had 8 carries, 42, and it ultimately, Eagles just threw a ton of picks. He just threw a ton of picks with Jalen Hurts. 6 picks in this game. It's funny because I really felt like no one genuinely. There's one player that got really close to this. Now that I'm looking at it, somebody got really close to that 4 picks by same player. Somebody got really close. But that being said, that is the weekly schedule for week 5. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to look at the following week, and maybe we'll go through the standings. Maybe we'll use it for another show. In about 10-15 seconds. I'll be right back. So we're going to do a quick breakdown for week 6. I'm just going to give my who I think wins and loses. It's just going to be that simple. Starting with week 6, we have the Sentinels and Panthers. I do think, again, coming in with a brand new team, has got to make some changes. I'm still waiting for him to actually send over something that he can use with those Sentinels. King Taz, I believe, is sitting 3-2 is what I saw. I do expect King Taz to get a win here. I just think Dre with a brand new team trying to figure out that situation is going to be tough. I do think the Panthers pulled this one out with no issue. Broncos and Condors. We have Brian going against Ivan. Ivan's going to take a L here, unfortunately. I do think that this one was going to be a game to Brian. Brian's going to win this one. It should be by 7 or more. Oilers and Jags. This is obviously a divisional game. Both users really need to stay on track when it comes to this division. You don't really want to play around too much in this division, in this AFC South. I don't know. I really want to pick Nike only because I don't think that 70 burger sits well. I just can't imagine him to take that kind of loss and then come back and produce and have the same kind of production in his next game. So I'm actually going to give this one to Nike. It's going to be a close game, but I do think Nike gets this game. He's sitting 4-1. I kind of expect him to be 5-1 after this one, being that it is a division opponent. Bengals and Aviators. Let me tell you, if there's a game that's real that you want to watch, it is absolutely going to be this one between Brad and Gideon. Now, in fairness, Brad is not playing with his original team. This is kind of a rebuild situation as well for Brad. With these Bengals, and then of course we've got the Houston Aviators. So somebody's flying somewhere to play in this game. I'm gonna give Gideon the game by 7. I don't really have a whole lot to say there because I know how this is gonna go if I go any further. So I'm gonna give Gideon the game by 7. It will be close. Vikings and Dreadnoughts. Earl is not performing this year. Currently sitting 1-3 with those Vikings, and of course the Dreadnoughts are really not too far off when it comes to their performance this season. Also 1-3. I do think that Virginia Beach Dreadnoughts will win this game by 14 or more. Shamrocks and Tigers. This is a very important game for both users. Hendricks sitting 3-2. I don't think either user is going to win their division between him and Rome. However, I do think that this is a very important game as far as maintaining second place amongst their divisions, or at least being in position. Rome is currently 3rd in his division, sitting at 2-2, and not looking so simple all of a sudden with these two new users over here in the NFC South. Hendricks is sitting in 2nd place currently, or I think he's tied for 1st actually in the AFC North. So this is a big game for both users. Hendricks gets this one by 7. I'm just not a believer in the old man this season. Saints and Lions, the absolute game of the week, in my opinion. You have a 5-0 against a 4-1, and the 4-1 should be 5-0. If I'm going to be honest with you, he should be 5-0. But of course, fair sim that happened there. 2 users couldn't get a schedule together. I don't know. I really don't know. I think both of them are very conservative style players. It's going to be interesting to watch 2 people play the same game. They literally play the same, in my opinion. Don't know. But just because I have to choose, I'm going to go with Hollywood Tough. I think he's going to win by 7. The guy just does not seem to lose games. It just so happens that Austin's undefeated, and I think he's going to end that undefeated streak. 49ers and Chargers. I'm giving Tillman this game, no question. Dude is playing exactly how I expected him to be playing this season. He's 5-0. He'll be 6-0 come week 6. Blues and Rams. I expect Bloodshed to get his second win of the season over Kevin Freeman. And I think he's going to get the game by 14, only because Kevin Freeman loves to throw picks. Dolphins and Lumberjacks. I'm going to say just Jacob is going to continue to perform well. He's 3-1 currently. Obviously, that Lumberjacks team coming into a brand new situation, trying to figure that out. He's 3-1. I expect him to go 4-1 and continue at the pace he's on. The Thunderbirds and Redwoods. You know, what's funny is 2 Maddens ago, this would have been this actually would have been a genuine rivalry between, or maybe it was last Madden. I don't know. It was one of the two. Top and J-Stack got into it at one point. There was a time frame that this would have been a real rivalry game. I like J-Stack's gameplay this year. He just hasn't been able to get a stop on defense. And those not getting stops is killing him in these games. Top just took a loss. If he's playing to get to the playoffs, he cannot take another one. So if Top's playing in that mentality, I give Top the game by 7. Or actually, I give him the game by 30. But if he's not playing in that mentality, J-Stack may pull off a dub. See how it plays out. Eagles and Cowboys division game, very important game for the alpha dog with Jalen Hurts to get back on track with those Eagles after a 6-pick interception game in this previous one. And then of course you have Slick playing within the NFC East as well. Currently 3-1. He needs to even this out. The Eagles needs to win this game. I don't think you play around when it comes to Fuzz and Slick. You've got to win these games. Period. You don't win if he doesn't win this game, season's over in my opinion. I think that's how the NFC is just built. I think the NFC is just built in that way that you cannot get more than 2 or 3 games back and expect to produce as far as playoffs. You got to start the season with dubs. Period. So this is a big game. I'm actually going to give Slick this game. It's funny because there was somebody that said that the Eagles would run the table. And so far I'm looking pretty right at him setting 2-3. I think he only needs 1 or 2 more losses for me to be accurate. But he's going to take a loss here to Slick. Slick's going to get this one by 10. Black Knights and Ravens. There is not a better rivalry in Madden history than Legend and Smitty, which is funny because I don't know if you can really call it a rivalry when I think one user does technically kind of own the other user. You'd probably say that. Gonna give this one to Smitty. Even though Legend just won a game by 70, I'm going to give this one to Smitty. I'm going to say Smitty wins this game. I think Legend's head's in the clouds right now after the win he had last week and the way people are celebrating him up to this point. Smitty's going to continue his dominance. He's going to continue his dominance, and he's going to keep, by him continuing his dominance, I do think what you're going to see is that AFC South is going to look exactly how it did last season. Going to be close, literally beginning to end. The very last game is a wow. I did not know I get to play Ben. Let's go. I'm just playing. I don't know what the score is going to be. But yeah, Ben, I ain't blood. That's all I'm going to tell you. I ain't blood. I'm not bloodshed, cuz. I am not bloodshed, cuz. I don't know why, but funny, it just showed up Breece Hall on my screen from Austin, and I think that's talking about the Adrian Peterson player that Top currently has. I don't know who's going to win this game. I expect to take out Ben, but he could beat me. You know, when people have a relationship with EA, it's hard to beat them. And Ben has definitely been courting EA for the past few weeks, so it wouldn't surprise me if he beats me by 3 or more in this game. Well, that is our week 6 schedule, as far as the standings are concerned, I mean, again, my plan was kind of to hold them until the next show that we did. I am going to try to get some users on the next show. That's kind of the plan, is to get people on the show. The next show we have to go over the standings, and if I think anything, all I'm going to say is, do I think anything will change AFC North up to this point? No. AFC South, no. AFC East, yes. Jacob, do not get comfortable. AFC West, no. The Chargers will own this division. NFC North, no. This is Austin's division. They're too far behind. The division race is over. That, like, you can just forget about that. NFC South, no. I don't think that changes either. I think Hollywood Tough is Hollywood Tough. He should have the production to finish out. I do think Taz is going to make the playoffs alongside him. NFC East, maybe, but no. I don't think anybody's going to dethrone the Fuzzmeister. NFC West, there could be some change. We got an even setups right here. There could be some potential change here in the NFC West, but ultimately, that's the majority. You know, I probably need to change my opinion a little bit about the NFC South, because Nike does have some games on his schedule, and his points for is 171, 139, so he's not completely stopping people on comp. So it's kind of an interesting situation. We'll see how this all plays out. But ultimately, guys, that is going to be the show. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Hopefully we'll get some, hopefully I'll get some little more content week to week, day to day, you name it. We'll try to do our best to get it out and ultimately get to a position where you all can enjoy. But I am shutting this down and going to introduce something to the chat that I was able to assist with over in Legends League. But other than that, man, I hope y'all enjoy your day. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. Oh, wait, I forgot. My bad. I forgot. You know what? I'll just post it. I'll post it. Yeah. I post it. I gotta go to work. I post it. Yeah. I post it.